Perfect. So I'm very excited by today's session with our guest, Andrea Cabanas, co-founder and CEO of Fych Technologies. Andrea and her co-founder Oksana founded Fych within the University of Alicante after several years of research as PhD students in the field of waste management and plastic recycling. And thanks to their research, they have managed to get 3 patents for 3 technologies, focusing on increasing recyclability of plastics and also the quality of the recycled plastic material. So Fych has been on the mission to convert waste into resources since 2019. And since then, they have managed to grow the team to 5 employees. They have been awarded several prizes, and they have grown revenues to over $1 million this year. So I think that's a very impressive start for such a young company, especially without significant investor backing. So very excited again, and thank you, Andrea, for joining us. And please walk us through your journey. How did you become an entrepreneur?
Thank you, Katarina, for the introduction, and good afternoon. So maybe I can share the screen to show better, to explain it better. So as you said, we started with the company we started in the research field in 2016, but then we founded the company a few years later in 2020. In the beginning, the co-founding team, we were the only ones that we were working in the company. Me, Oksana, and also Andres Fullana is the 3rd co-founder. He was our thesis director in that moment. So in reality, we met each other during our studies as chemical engineers, like many years ago in 2009. And then Oksana and I, we decided to make a PhD after we finished the degrees. We started working in the industry, but then we came back to the university to start studying a PhD based on converting waste into new resources. No? And we focus on plastics and the different challenges that the industry is facing. So this was, Oksana started in 2016 and I started the PhD 1 year later. And in 2019, we patented the different technologies. And then we realized we were really solving a real problem that the industry was having. And in that moment, we started to get interest from a big company, from multinational companies. And in that moment, we decided to found the company. So even before we finished the PhD, we already founded the company. And then 1 year later, in 2021, we started hiring people for the technical development of the company, so that Oksana and I, we had more time to find funding and also to find customers. Our technologies, as you have said, we have developed different technologies to increase the recyclability of plastics and also to increase the quality. One of them is the DL tech that we call, that is for the recycling of multi-layer packaging. If someone do not understand what is a multi-layer packaging, we think about any type of packaging that is used in the food industry, like for packing pasta or for packing bakery, and also for milk and juices. It's using different type of materials. So you don't have a single material in a packaging, and the complexity of the materials that contains a package makes the packaging not recyclable with the conventional technologies that are available in the market. And this is why we started with the delamination technology, to be able to recycle all type of plastic waste. And on the other hand, another problem that the recycling industry is facing is the bad smell or the contaminants that contain the plastic. Because normally when we recycle, for example, a detergent bottle or a shampoo bottle, this bottle afterwards is used for making rubbish bins or for making gardening applications that do not require a high quality of the plastic. But with our technologies that are able to decontaminate and deodorize the plastic, we can reuse again this plastic to produce another bottle of shampoo or detergent, because we eliminate all the contaminants and the bad odors that are absorbed in the plastic. we basically have been developing the technologies at laboratory at pilot scale for different type of materials. And just to show you an example of the complexity of these materials, we are talking about snacks. They contain different type of plastics, and also they contain inks for giving the color and the marketing part, and also aluminum, because the aluminum is a very good material to keep the properties of the food. So we have a, let's say, a time for eating the chips much longer, even up to a year, if we pack it in this packaging than if we pack in a regular bag. And this is really good to avoid the waste, the food waste. But on the other hand, we have the problem of plastic waste. But this is what we are solving with our technology, because we are able to separate the different materials. For example, in this kind of packaging, we have cardboard that in this moment is already recovered in the industry, but then we also have plastic and aluminum. And with our technology, we are capable to separate the plastic and aluminum and recycle them in different streams. Just not to bore you, I will also explain this is the pilot line that we have available for making all the tests. And then the other technology to remove the odors. With this technology, in which we only use steam, basically like when you iron the clothes and you use steam and then you can feel the odor of the softener, for example, we use the same technique but to extract the odors of the plastic. And in this case, what we achieve is a efficiency of more than 95% in the removal of odors with this technology. And a similar technology is used to decontaminate not only the odorous compounds, but also the contamination in general that we can find in a plastic sample. So this is the summary of the three technologies and how we started from PhDs and we went to entrepreneurs. And it's quite challenging because nobody teaches you how to make a business from scratch, and nobody is telling you how to find funding. So this is something that we really learn. The technical part is the easy part for us. To develop it at industrial scale, for us, this is doable, let's say, is easy. But finding money, the money, and also, let's say, being a good commercials, this is something more challenging for us. Yeah.
That's precisely what I wanted to ask, Andrea. You said that you were a researcher and then you saw that there is a lot of demand and you decided to create this company. But I know, as we've chatted before, that you actually didn't have much business skills before or exposure to other startups. So presumably it must have been a little bit scary, wasn't it? Well, I guess it's a big leap. So how did you really, what was your thinking at the time?
Mm-hmm. At the beginning, the first thing we thought is we have nothing to lose. So just let's try and see what happens. But no, it's just not just straightforward, like let's see what happens. What we did was first to go to different type of courses for entrepreneurship for PhDs, were specific courses to go from PhD to make a business. So that courses helped us a lot to develop the idea and to commercialize our ideas and our prototypes, let's say, of technologies. But of course, there is a part, for me, the hardest part is the negotiation. When you have to negotiate to sell something or to sell part of the company for increasing your funding, this is something that you never learn because you don't have examples previous examples. So there is a moment that is the first moment. And yes, this is the most challenging part, at least for me.
And so today, how much of your time is dedicated to really science and research, and how much of it is really running the company?
I would say only 20% is for science and the rest is for running the company. Yeah, because we are lucky. Well, we are lucky. We have a very good team, a technical team, and they are quite autonomous. So we just make meetings and give some assessment, but they know how to run the scientific part.
So I assume that your life has changed quite a bit. when you decided to become an entrepreneur, the way that you spend time in your day is very much different. And presumably the lifestyle of an entrepreneur is also a little bit more hectic than the one of a scientist. So is there something that you that surprised you, or that you miss now, or are you happy being an entrepreneur?
Sometimes I need science because let's say when I was doing the technical part, I was in my comfort zone, but now it's more uncomfortable. But at the same time, it's more. I like it because I learn a lot every day, and something that I like a lot is to travel. So this is a good way of traveling by working and selling the products. So I like the lifestyle. But it's true that every day you never feel 100% comfortable because you do new things almost every single day.
And so that was going to be also my next question. What was your biggest learning to date?
As I said, I think the biggest learning has been the biggest challenge, that is how to negotiate with big companies. Because learning what should be your starting point and learning how are they thinking to somehow to I don't know, to guess. It's like playing to guess what is the other part thinking. So I think that's the biggest learning. You never guess well, but let's say you learn to think how others are thinking from their point of view. So this has been a deep learning, and I think in no school you learn that. You learn that by living and by experience.
Do you also have any mentors or people who help you and guide you in the area of managing a team?
Yes, at the beginning that when we didn't get any funding at the very beginning, we knew a man that he had many businesses, but now he is retired, so he helped us, let's say for free, just for fun for him, in the development of the business and also in the patent applications and all the claims and everything. And then now we contracted a freelance that he is working to help startups in the development phase and in the business development, finding funding, etc. So we have an external person helping us in that sense. Yeah, otherwise it's almost impossible. We needed some help and some people, experienced people that can tell us some examples of what is normal, what is not normal in the negotiations, etc.
That's really interesting. So tell us maybe a little bit more about your customers and how many of them do you have, and what is your plan for the future, and maybe even what would success look like for you?
So we have a company in which we don't need, let's say, hundreds of customers to be profitable. We just need few customers that really have the same mind. Let's say that in Fych we have. So for example, in total we have had 14 customers since we started, but like active customers that we work with them every month, I would say like 5, 6 customers is what we have continuously, and with that we are already economically sufficient. But of course we always want more. And the most important is to not only to have customers, because one part of the company is dedicated to the R&D, and the other part is dedicating to the scale up of the technologies. So we always start with R&D and then we move to scale up. So now what we need to focus is on the development of the technologies that started this year as R&D for the next year to be a scale-up technology.
And what would be helpful for you in order to grow more or faster, if that is what you want?
Yes, this is what we are looking for now. And what we need now, until now, what we have done is to license the technology to some customers for a specific type of waste and for a specific type of solution. But in this moment, we have seen that we have many types of waste that we can recycle, but only having a pilot prototype line like we have now, it's quite challenging to sell the technology. So what we have seen now is that we need to become the experts on the running an industrial line. And for that is for what we are now looking for investment to build our industrial line for recycling multi-layer flexible packaging. And this will make us grow because in Spain we can be the recyclers of this type of packaging, but then we can license the technology outside Spain and replicate the business, making a joint venture or just by licensing.
So in the future, you see Fych being all over Europe or potentially even outside?
Yes, because already in this moment we have customers from France, from Italy, from Indonesia, and from other countries, Asian countries. So yeah, I think the European and the Asian market now it's the most interesting for us. So yeah, I can see ourselves being outside Spain for sure.
Is there a lot of tweaking that you need to do in your product in order to enter a new market with a different legislation?
With a different, not really. You mean if we go to Asia, for example?
Yes,
Or
in terms
outside?
of their recycling processes, how different are they?
No, because I think in the end, the let's say the law in Europe is the most restrictive one for recycling, for example, for water waste treatment, that our processes consume water. So we need to treat the water. So in the moment that you have everything ready for Spain or for Europe, let's say, it's easy to go to outside Europe because the legislation normally is not more strict than the one that we have. So no, I don't think that's not the problem. But the truth is that in Europe we have many legislation now that are pushing the recyclability of plastic packaging, and this is helping us a lot to gain customers that really want to be involved in that transition.
Yes, indeed. That's what we also see, a lot of tailwinds coming from the European legislation and the push to net zero and recycling more and more. One of my final questions would be around if you have any advice that you would give to today's students who are contemplating the idea of starting their own business.
I would tell them if they have really any idea that they would love to bring to the market, just start doing that. But to start doing that, please, I would recommend go to look for specific courses to be entrepreneur and to test your business model and to test your product or the process that you are developing to see if there is a real interest in the industry. And if there is, like this is what happened to us, then go for it. Because in the end, for me, it's like you have nothing to lose. You always can apply for other applications in companies, in external companies, but maybe it's the only chance or is the best chance that you have when you really want to commercialize something that you have your own ideas. And it's quite exciting. I think for me, it's a very good experience.
That's a great answer. I did not even expect it. But my second question that I wanted to ask you is whether there is any recommendation you would give to universities working with students in different fields, including deep tech and scientific fields, in terms of entrepreneurial education, which seems that had been lacking in your case.
Yes, we have been in many talks in the University of Alicante where they ask this question. And the first thing we always say is that we should join different profiles like economics, law, and technical profiles in a common, let's say, maybe optional subject in the different degrees, that is entrepreneurship or how to build your own company. And then I think it would be successful because then you meet people from different areas and together you can create ideas and you can create a company. Because this is something that we are missing yet. and that we were missing from the beginning, that we were all scientific people, but no one was coming from the economical part or from the law, which is really, really important when you start a company. And I think a good idea for a university would be to make a program or starting from some courses inside of the degree where you can join people with different profiles to work together in a common idea that they need to develop. And I have seen masters that include these options. And in the end, they become entrepreneurs because they have all the profiles that they need, and then you motivate each other. And I think that would be a successful thing to do. Yeah.
One of the big themes of the Inspiring the Minds project is green skills, and the other is diversity and inclusion. And you being a female founder and CEO, together with your other co-founder, Oksana, the two out of three co-founders are females. Mm-hmm. I wonder if you see any differences being women in business compared to men at all.
I don't know. My experience until now has been good, I would say, but I would need to be a man to compare how the society behaves with one and the other. I would say, except for one or two comments that we have heard, everything has been equal or has been positive. I think sometimes when some companies want to invest in your company, they ask, what are your family, what are if you are looking for kids, let's say, if you want to have kids, if you want to be a mother, etc. I guess this is something that nobody asks to men, even though they will become fathers as well. But but I think it's because of the age. We started creating the company when we were 30s, and we had no kids. So everybody's expecting when this will happen, and they will, I don't know, they think we will run away or something. But that's not the case. Maybe this is the only weak point that I have observed, but really it just happened once. So I want to think that, well, they didn't have a bad intention when they asked about that. But yeah, maybe in that sense, they are a bit scared for investing in companies founded by women. That could be a reason.
Could be, possibly. Perfect. So how much would you say of your success so far would you attribute to luck, and how much was hard work?
I think luck, nothing is luck. Even sometimes that you could think that you are lucky, in the end you are lucky, but when you realize why some company called you one day and you thought, oh, I was lucky that I got this contact and we start working together. But in reality, this is because you started a marketing strategy on LinkedIn or something. And this is because then they look to your background and they saw scientific publications. So they trust you. And if you made a paper, it's because you made a PhD. If you made a PhD, it's because you studied. So I think lucky, maybe 10% lucky, 90% work.
Great. Okay, so I think that's a good advice also for everyone else listening. Hard work pays, and then you will get some luck on the way, most probably, when you open yourself up for chances.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I think that was my last question. Anything to add from your side?
No, thank you very much for the interview and for letting us to tell our story. And I hope we could encourage someone that is thinking about making a new business with new ideas.
Great.